What if attracting toxic people isn't bad luck, but a signal you're broadcasting without even knowing it? Why do certain manipulative individuals always seem to find your deepest vulnerabilities with such effortless ease? It feels like you are carrying an invisible magnet, pulling in debris and chaos wherever you go. But imagine if you had the control to finally turn off that attraction once and for all. Toxic people actively hunt for those who already perceive themselves as the problem in every situation. They seek out these specific individuals so they can blame them for everything that goes wrong. This cycle can leave you feeling drained, confused, and stripped of your own interpersonal power. Is it possible to become completely invisible to the manipulators who target your kindness and empathy? Today, we are going to explore the 5 specific habits that make you an emotional magnet. Understanding these subtle red flags is the first step toward reclaiming your boundaries and your peace. Most of us do not even realize we are inviting this negative energy into our daily lives. You might be a chronic people pleaser, putting everyone else's needs before your very own well-being. When you lack firm boundaries, you essentially roll out a welcome mat for toxic people to enter. The good news is that you possess the strength to change this narrative starting right now. Reclaiming your life means identifying the specific behaviors that have made you a target for so long. Why do these patterns repeat? And how can we break the cycle of emotional exhaustion forever? Manipulators love when you blame yourself because it gives them a free pass for their harmful actions. By shifting your mindset, you can start identifying red flags before they even get close to you. It is time to look at the invisible magnet you've been carrying and learn how to dismantle it. Let us dive into these habits and discover how to restore your true personal power today. The first habit is one we often mistake for a virtue: the chronic apology. We are told being polite means saying sorry, but in the wrong hands, that word is surrender. How many times today did you apologize for just existing or taking up space? Does being a chronic people pleaser make you a better person, or just an easier target? Apologizing for things that are not your fault teaches others that you believe everything is your fault. Each unnecessary sorry reinforces the idea that you are responsible for everyone else's discomfort. This constant self-blame acts like an emotional magnet, attracting people who want a scapegoat. Think about how animals communicate their status and intentions in the wild without saying a word. A dog rolling on its back to show its belly is a universal signal of total surrender. By exposing its most vulnerable parts, the animal tells the world it will not fight back. When you apologize for things you did not do, you are essentially rolling over for the world. This submissive signal is exactly what toxic people are scanning for in every conversation. Toxic people look for individuals who already see themselves as the problem so they can blame them. If you are willing to take the blame for nothing, they will make sure you take it for everything. Toxic individuals use your over-politeness as a green light to bypass your personal power. Ignoring these red flags allows predators to settle into your life and start making demands. Without firm boundaries, your constant apologies invite others to walk all over your peace of mind. Truly strong people understand that an apology is a tool reserved only for genuine mistakes. They only say sorry when they have committed a mistake, maintaining their integrity and respect. Reclaiming your personal power starts with realizing you are not responsible for the moods of others. Stop apologizing for your presence and start standing tall in your own truth today. Setting firm boundaries means refusing to apologize for things that are completely out of your control. Every unwarranted apology is a brick you are handing someone to build a wall around you. You are not the problem, and you do not need to ask permission to simply exist. But toxic people are not just looking for apologies. They are looking for a map. Every "I'm sorry" you say for no reason acts like a GPS for toxic people. It shows them exactly where your boundaries are weakest and where your personal power ends. To break this cycle, you need a clear rule to distinguish between kindness and submission. Stop viewing apologies as a social lubricant and start seeing them as a high-value currency. Think about the last time you apologized just to keep the peace during a tense moment. Were you actually responsible for the problem, or were you just trying to soothe someone else? Toxic people look for this specific behavior to see if you are an easy emotional magnet. They identify red flags in your behavior when you take blame for things you did not do. Reclaiming your personal power starts with one simple filter before you let a sorry escape. From this moment forward, you must only apologize when a specific tangible error has occurred. If you did not make a mistake, then there is absolutely nothing for you to be sorry for. Strong people understand that an apology without a fault is actually a sign of deep insecurity. When you stop apologizing for existing, you stop being a target for those who seek control. Imagine the shift in your energy when you stand firm in your truth without flinching. You are essentially redrawing the lines of your boundaries with every silent and confident moment. This is not about being rude or cold. It is about being precise with your own integrity. A people pleaser apologizes to avoid conflict, while a strong person apologizes to take true responsibility. Watch how the room changes when you stop filling uncomfortable silences with unnecessary apologies. You will begin to notice which toxic people get frustrated when they can no longer manipulate you. Those who respect your boundaries will appreciate your honesty, while the manipulators will slowly fade away. Your voice should only carry the weight of an apology when you have truly crossed a line. Using this tool transforms you from an emotional magnet into someone with unbreakable personal power. Every time you hold back a fake apology, you are reinforcing a shield against toxic behavior. This is the first step in showing the world that you are no longer an easy mark. Take a breath and realize that your presence alone never requires an excuse or a sorry. That brings us to step 2, a destructive habit we often call information dumping. When you open up too fast, you aren't just building a bridge to a connection. Instead, you are handing a complete stranger the master keys to your private vault. Are you truly connecting with them, or are you just leaking sensitive personal information? Think of your life story as a precious treasure that must be earned over time. Toxic people are expert listeners who take silent notes on every secret you reveal. They look for specific vulnerabilities like your fear of being alone or deep trust issues. Even your feelings of guilt become data points for them to use against you later. While you think you're bonding, they are busy sketching a map of your emotional landscape. This map highlights exactly where your boundaries are weak and where you are most fragile. Sharing your entire life story immediately provides them with a collection of powerful emotional weapons. Does this person deserve to hold your most painful memories after only one coffee date? To a toxic individual, your past trauma is simply leverage to be used for future manipulation. They wait for the perfect moment to pull these details out and trigger your insecurities. Every vulnerability you hand over becomes a tool they can use to bypass your defenses. Dumping personal information on someone too quickly can unfortunately signal a sense of inner desperation. It tells the other person that you are hungry for connection at any possible cost. This lack of filtering acts like an emotional magnet for people who thrive on control. It is like dumping a giant puzzle on the floor before the other person is ready. Most people would feel overwhelmed, but a toxic person sees an easy opportunity to dominate. In contrast, healthy people share personal information slowly to test if someone is actually safe. They offer small pieces of themselves and wait to see how that information is handled. This gradual process allows you to watch for red flags before the stakes get high. You deserve to know that your story is being kept safe by a trustworthy partner. Protecting your details isn't being cold. It is exercising your personal power and setting boundaries. Remember that you are the gatekeeper of your own history and your own private heart. Once they have the map, they just wait for the right time to use it. Stop providing the blueprint for your own destruction to people you barely even know yet. Your vulnerabilities are meant for those who have proven they will cherish and protect them. Reclaim your mystery and let others earn the right to see the real you slowly. Think of your personal history like a vault that only a few should ever enter. When you throw the doors wide open immediately, you might be signaling something you don't intend. Dumping your deepest secrets onto a stranger often signals a desperate need for immediate, intense connection. This rapid flood of information tells toxic people that your boundaries are easy to push past. It acts like a beacon, drawing in those who thrive on emotional intensity and early vulnerability. Instead of building a bridge, you are accidentally giving away the keys to your entire kingdom. Healthy connections work differently, moving at a pace that respects the value of your story. Normal, healthy people share personal information slowly, letting the relationship breathe as trust develops over time. They understand that intimacy is earned through consistent actions, not just through revealing dramatic life details. This slow reveal allows you to see if the other person is actually safe to hold your truth. Start by sharing something small, a low-stakes detail that doesn't expose your most sensitive inner wounds. Maybe it is a minor frustration at work or a simple preference that reveals a bit of personality. Watch closely how they handle this minor piece of information before you decide to offer anything more. Do they listen with genuine interest, or do they immediately turn the conversation back to themselves? A safe person respects your boundaries and doesn't pressure you to reveal more than you are ready. If they handle the small things with care, you can slowly begin to open the next layer. This testing phase is your greatest defense against becoming an emotional magnet for the wrong people. It helps you spot red flags early before you have invested too much of your heart. Protecting your personal power means knowing that your story is a privilege for others to hear. By testing the waters first, you ensure that only the worthy gain access to your inner world. Most people think toxic behavior comes out of nowhere, but the warning signs are always there. You have to learn to hear the rattle before the bite actually happens in your life. Toxic people often broadcast their true character early on, long before the real damage begins today. Think of these initial red flags like a rattlesnake shaking its tail as a clear warning. When the snake shakes its tail, it isn't an accident. It is telling you to move. Similarly, early behaviors from toxic people are clear signals that you should start setting your boundaries. One of the first signs is when someone constantly talks poorly about others behind their backs. If they are shredding someone else's reputation today, they will likely do the same to you. Pay close attention to how they treat people who can do absolutely nothing for them right now. Another warning signal occurs when they cancel plans at the last minute without any real regard. This lack of respect for your time shows they value their own needs above everything else. Does it feel like they only call you when they need a favor or some help? Calling only when they need something is a major red flag that you are being used. Have you ever been made to feel bad only for them to claim it was just a joke? Insulting you and then calling it a joke is a classic way toxic people test your boundaries. If you get upset, they turn it around on you, making you feel like the sensitive one. Watch out for people who get incredibly angry over very minor things that should not matter. This explosive reaction to small inconveniences is a window into their deep-seated lack of emotional control. You might be tempted to ignore these signs because you want to see the very best, but remember the rattlesnake. The sound it makes is a generous gift of a fair warning. These early behaviors are not accidents or misunderstandings that you should just try to explain away. They are the emotional magnet's way of identifying who will tolerate their toxic and draining behavior. By recognizing these signs, you reclaim your personal power before you get caught in their web. But what happens when you actually notice these signs and try to walk away from them? We often believe that being a good person means you must be soft and always accommodating. But history's greatest figures prove that true kindness is compatible with setting very firm boundaries. To understand true strength, we have to look at the people we admire most across history. You might feel like a people pleaser, fearing that saying no makes you a bad person. However, being a nice person never requires you to accept bad treatment or constant disrespect. In fact, the most peaceful figures in human history were masters of protecting their personal power. Can you really be kind while still having the courage to say a hard no? Let us look at the example of Jesus, a figure synonymous with ultimate compassion and love. Even he had limits when it came to people disrespecting what he considered sacred spaces. Imagine the scene of him flipping tables in the temple to drive out those causing harm. He was not being cruel. He was establishing a boundary that could not be crossed. This shows that even the most loving leaders have moments where they must act aggressively. If the personification of love could flip tables, why do you feel guilty for setting boundaries? Consider the Buddha, who is the global symbol of inner peace and absolute tranquility. His journey to enlightenment actually began with the massive boundary of walking away from his life. He realized that his old environment was a distraction and chose to leave everything behind. Sometimes the most peaceful thing you can do is simply walk away from a toxic situation. Then there is Gandhi, known worldwide for his gentle spirit and his philosophy of non-violence. Despite his gentleness, he possessed the iron will to stand up to an entire global empire. He proved that you do not need to be loud or aggressive to hold your ground. His boundaries were immovable, even when facing the most powerful forces on the entire planet. These figures show us that being an emotional magnet for goodness requires high personal standards. They were not just being nice. They were being purposeful about what they allowed in. If these peaceful icons had boundaries, then you certainly have the right to set them too. True virtue is not about being a doormat. It is about knowing exactly where you end. When you stop being a people pleaser, you start reflecting the strength of these historical giants. Remember that your kindness is a gift, not a free pass for others to mistreat you. Reclaiming your personal power starts by realizing that boundaries are actually a form of deep respect. You can be a light in the world without letting others extinguish your own inner fire. Strength is not about being mean. It is about being boundaried and protecting your sacred peace. This is the moment everything changes, the exact turning point where your personal power finally takes root. Think of your new boundary like a high-performance filter for a pool, replacing that old emotional magnet. A boundary acts as a filter, letting the good people in while keeping the toxic ones out. However, you must be prepared because the toxic ones will never go away without a fight. Good people understand and respect boundaries because they value your well-being as much as their own. When you say no, a healthy person hears a limit and respects the space you need. These individuals appreciate your clarity, knowing that honest boundaries actually strengthen the foundation of a relationship. But for others, your newfound strength feels like a personal attack on their control over you. Toxic people absolutely hate boundaries because it means they can no longer bypass your emotional defenses. They see your limits as obstacles to their needs, rather than healthy expressions of your self-worth. Why are they so angry that you finally have a limit to what you can give? Toxic people often get incredibly angry when they notice a person pulling back after spotting red flags. Their rage is a defense mechanism designed to intimidate you back into your old people-pleaser habits. By reacting with hostility, they hope you will abandon your boundary just to keep the peace. Are they truly attacking your boundary, or are they launching a direct assault on your character? Toxic people may use guilt as a weapon, questioning your kindness the moment you set a limit. They might ask how you could be so selfish after everything they claim to have done. This tactic is meant to make you feel like the villain for simply protecting your own energy. Remember, anyone who gets angry at you for having a boundary is exactly why you need one. Your boundary is revealing the truth about those around you, acting as a perfect diagnostic tool. It identifies who truly loves you for who you are versus those who only loved your compliance. Reclaiming your personal power means realizing that their reaction is a reflection of them, not you. Stand firm in your decision, knowing that the right people will always remain by your side. Once you filter out the noise, you need something meaningful to fill that newly cleared space. Stepping into your personal power feels great until that familiar wave of guilt starts to wash over you. You might worry that standing your ground makes you look cold or even a little bit selfish. This fear is exactly what toxic people count on when they try to bypass your new boundaries. They often use guilt as a weapon, questioning your kindness the moment you finally say no. When you set a limit, they might ask why you are suddenly being so incredibly difficult. It is a calculated move designed to make any people-pleaser feel like they are the villain. By labeling your boundaries as unkind, they attempt to manipulate you back into your old habits. Recognize this tactic for what it truly is, a desperate attempt to regain control over you. The hard truth is that toxic people absolutely hate boundaries because they stop the exploitation. To them, your self-respect looks like a personal attack on their perceived right to your energy. However, you must remember that good people will always understand and respect your personal boundaries. A healthy individual sees your no as a vital sign of a balanced and honest relationship. They do not need to guilt trip you because they value your well-being as much as their own. If someone attacks your character for protecting your peace, they are flashing a major red flag. You are not being mean. You are simply being clear about what you can and cannot give. Protecting your space is an act of integrity, not a betrayal of your naturally kind heart. Toxic people thrive in the gray areas where they can blur the lines of your personal responsibility. Your new boundaries act as a filter, separating those who care from those who only consume. Do not let the emotional magnet of false guilt pull you back into toxic relationship cycles. Every time you hold your ground, you reinforce the value of your own time and energy. Setting limits is actually the most authentic way to build a foundation for real, healthy love. You are teaching the world exactly how to treat you with the respect you truly deserve. Your personal power grows stronger every time you refuse to apologize for having basic human needs. Let go of the need to be perceived as nice at the expense of your sanity. True kindness begins with being honest with yourself and firm with those who cross the line. The best way to keep toxic people out isn't to build a wall but to fill your house. Step 5 is your ultimate defense against emotional predators. Building the fortress of a full life. Take an honest look at your schedule and ask if your life has vacancy signs for drama. Many people do not realize that lacking personal hobbies and big dreams actually attracts toxic individuals. Without a clear sense of direction, you become an easy target for those seeking empty spaces to occupy. Think of your energy as precious real estate that should never be left wide open and unattended. When you have no personal goals, you inadvertently signal that your time is always up for grabs. This brings us to a critical mistake many people pleasers make when they feel a spark of attention. Have you ever dropped all your existing plans just because someone new finally gave you a little attention? Dropping everything at a moment's notice signals to a predator that you have no other meaningful activities. It tells them your world revolves around their whims, making you the perfect candidate for manipulation. Relinquishing your schedule shows a lack of personal power and a deep hunger for external validation. However, having a busy life filled with personal interests leaves no room for toxic individuals to enter. Imagine a fortress with no guest rooms for drama because every corner is filled with your passions. When your calendar is packed with goals and hobbies, you simply do not have time for their games. Being strategically busy isn't about stress. It is about protecting your peace and focusing on your growth. Your interests act as a natural filter, keeping away anyone who does not respect your valuable time. Toxic people are looking for a host to feed on, not someone with a thriving, independent existence. In fact, toxic individuals actively avoid people who are genuinely busy and truly happy. They realize they cannot control someone who is already fulfilled by their own dreams and daily habits. Happiness acts like a high-frequency shield that these emotional magnets find incredibly difficult to penetrate. By investing in yourself, you create a life that is fundamentally incompatible with their toxic behavior. What are you building for yourself today that no one else can ever take away from you? When your life is full, you don't just survive toxicity, you become immune to it. This is exactly what is waiting for you on the other side of these difficult changes. Imagine waking up tomorrow with all the energy you once wasted on people who never cared. What could you actually accomplish with all that extra energy finally returned to your own soul? Think of your spirit like a battery that finally stays charged at a full 100%. By identifying red flags early, you stop the slow leak of your most precious personal power. Protecting yourself from toxic people preserves your vital emotional energy for the good people in your life. You are no longer an invisible magnet for predators looking to drain your kindness and your light. Instead of fighting off parasites, you are finally free to invest in those who truly value you. Every boundary you set acts as a shield, keeping your inner peace safe from outside chaos. Who in your life actually deserves your best self rather than the exhausted remains of you? Your family, your true friends, and your own dreams are the rightful owners of your strength. This is the hard-won victory of someone who has finally decided that their peace is non-negotiable. Look back at the habits you've dismantled and realize how much lighter you feel right now. Your no is no longer a sign of weakness, but a powerful guardian of your well-being. Your full life is now a fortress where only the worthy are invited to step inside. You have traded the noise of toxic drama for the quiet confidence of a settled heart. Every ounce of energy you save is a gift you can now give to yourself. In this new space of safety, you can finally grow without being pruned by someone else's malice. The magnet has changed its frequency, attracting only the respect and love you truly deserve. You are the gatekeeper of your own existence, and you are doing an incredible job today. The people who love you will finally get the vibrant, energized version of who you are. No more explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you, just pure, unadulterated peace. Carry this clarity forward as you walk away from the shadows and into the bright light. Remember always that your peace is worth the work it takes to protect it. So, how do we start to turn these powerful insights into your new reality today? Don't just watch this and move on, because change starts with one decision, right here and now. Are you ready to finally turn off the magnet that has been attracting toxic people lately? Look back at the 5 habits we discussed and identify which one resonates with your life most. Pick just one specific change you will commit to implementing over the next 7 days starting today. Will you stop being a chronic people pleaser or finally start enforcing your own sacred personal boundaries? Perhaps you will stop oversharing and keep your personal vault locked until someone earns your deep trust. Making this single choice is like planting a tiny seed for a completely new and peaceful life. Every time you say no, you are watering that seed and claiming your true personal power back. Reclaiming your life isn't about perfection, but rather about making consistent progress every single day this week. You don't have to navigate this difficult journey alone as you rebuild your sense of self-worth. Subscribe now to join our community and stay updated on how to keep your progress moving forward. Staying connected ensures you have the constant support needed to recognize those dangerous red flags early on. Remember that you deserve a life filled with genuine respect and deep, meaningful connections with others. You have the strength within you to break these old patterns and build a much better future. Which of these 5 habits are you breaking today to reclaim your peace and your emotional energy? Share your chosen goal in the comments below so we can cheer you on during this transformation. Declaring your intention out loud is the first step toward making your new boundaries feel permanent and real. Don't let another day pass while acting as an emotional magnet for people who drain your spirit. You are worthy of the work it takes to protect your heart and your mental well-being daily. Take that first small step right now and watch how the world begins to respond differently. Your journey toward healing and strength is just beginning, and the best is yet to come. Thank you for trusting me with your growth, and I'll see you in the next one.